All right, today I have a special interview. I'm here with Jules Deming, and they're going to be talking a lot about a product they had made. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can kind of get a look at this, but these are communication cards. They're for helping people struggling with verbal shutdown, for individuals to be able to communicate easily what is going on for anyone in their life. Also, for people who are trying to help individuals who might be struggling with being expressive verbally, they can then communicate. So, Jules, where did this idea come from? Tell me your process.
A dear friend of mine came to me looking to see if I had, like, in my various connections, any knowledge of such a device. Because there are times that his own phone is overwhelming, or that it is out of reach, or out of battery, or out of signal, and the communications apps that exist are subscription based, or like, here's an ad at your worst possible moment. But my friend came to me wanting to know if I knew about any of these things, and I didn't. But what I did know is I can make one real fast. In the course of an afternoon, I mocked up a series of plan and then built them all in Illustrator in vector art format, and sent them off for manufacturing. They came back a couple of weeks later. It's been helping wonderfully. And then I posted about that briefly to the internet. Hey, I made this nifty thing. Anybody else want one? And it sort of blew up, because it turns out that even my very roughshod first run of them was massively good in a way that a lot of things have not yet been.
You talk about how like there's a lot of options for people who go nonverbal. You know, they could be a phone option, it could be an app, but usually it's like, do you have your phone handy? Is the app going to have an ad for you? Like all those barriers. But I think another barrier is that a lot of these tools for accessibility tend to be very sterile, like they're like medical grade, and they're not really that like warm to use. So what I appreciate about your cards is that they are artistic in a way, like they have that creativity and warmth to them that makes people want to actually use them. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that was another thing that weighed in my mind, as the options are either sterile or infantilizing, because a enormous portion of the accessibility world is for children, because there's this unspoken message that, like, well, you're an adult now. Now you just deal with it.
So one question I have, Jules, is there anything else like this on the market? Or can you talk about kind of what that looks like?
Arguably, the leading name in this is from Tobii Dynavox. They have a cell phone app, but it's only for Apple devices. They have a dedicated tablet, but it's like $750 with assistance. And at that point, you're adding additional bulk to the like everyday carry of a given person, even if it is a dedicated device to do only this. It doesn't solve the infantilizing aspect of it either, though, because the cards, the buttons that exist in these devices have little pictures on them, which granted can be helpful in certain circumstances, but like, the emoji of a happy face next to the word happy is not what most people need when they need to express that they're happy. The current landscape of this tends to be higher technology. Either, again, either an app that's not on your device, or requires subscription, or huge dedicated thing.
So these decks, I know that people can get a generic deck for $25, I think. Is that correct?
Hmm.
And then you can also customize. So like if they have
Yes,
specific needs.
whatever a person needs to be committed into one of these decks can very swiftly be committed into one of these decks. Um, I've made the colors adjustable. I've made the symbols per section customizable. The entire product lends itself at this point to customization.
One of the things
Um,
I like that you've talked about is that you were very intentional with your font choice. Can you explain why that's important?
my intent with these cards is that they are maximally accessible to the user, yes, but also anyone that they might be attempting to communicate with. The choice of Open Dyslexic is to hopefully ensure readability. It's in bold, optical contrast between the text and any given background color.
You've said that you printed this or you created this for a friend of yours who needed like accessibility help. How has it been for them? Like, if you're able to talk about, has it been useful? Has it been frequently used? Do they keep it on like uh, on their person at times, or is it like in a glove compartment? Like, how does the everyday use look like?
He's been keeping them attached to his bag, either like clipped on via the ring, or in the front pocket of it, but they've been an occasional use tool. They've been very helpful.
I think the only thing we maybe haven't touched on is that, we focus on how this can be useful for individuals to like potentially purchase or have it on hand. But I think it's as useful for like a paramedic or like a first responder to be able to have that in their toolkit to give to someone who maybe isn't responding to them, but they could use information.
Yeah, paramedics, doctors, clinics in general, therapists' offices. There are many situations, especially in the health world, that can be stressful to the point of sending someone into verbal shutdown. Having a tool like this on hand that doesn't require like learning the device or navigating through pages and tabs and all that, having something like this on hand would be massively helpful in those moments.
Well, I was Jules talking about the communication card. So thank you so much for letting us know about it. It's a really cool accessibility device I think everyone can use. So thanks for being on my show and talking about it.
Thank you for having me.